Hi, I'm Landon Liboiron, and you're watching the Permanent Rain Press.
Hi everyone, it's Chloe with the Permanent Rain Press, and today I'm happy to be joined by Landon Liboiron. Landon, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you for asking. As you mentioned, you're just in LA. You've been bouncing a bit back and forth. How have you been keeping safe and keeping sane during these times?
Yeah, well, I went back home for a little while. I grew up in Canada, and I went back and I stayed with my parents for a little while. They moved off of the ranch that I grew up on, and so it was a very important family moment to be a part of, and I was lucky to be there. And then I just decided to stay for a little longer, and so I've just been kind of hunkering down with family, and yeah, I just got back to LA where I live now.
There's nothing like that quality family time. It's so special and so important, especially as you grow older. Now, we are here today to talk about Come True, which is a film about a teenager, a sleep study, and the mental psyche. You star as Jeremy. Tell me a bit about him and how this project challenged you as an actor.
Jeremy is a slightly mysterious individual. He's quite brilliant and kind of immersed in his work, and very impassioned by his work. And he has developed a new technology that is he's doing these experiments to see if it works and how it works. And one of the specimens that he gets is Julia's character. And through their work together, he's the line between his love of his work and this individual start to kind of blur, and his obsession with what he's trying to accomplish and achieve, and his feelings for this person start to kind of blend. And um, challenged me as an actor. Well, it was kind of um, the material itself. I mean, Anthony, the director and writer, and everything else that he did on the movie, drew from a lot of Jungian philosophy, and so just reading through Jung, taking the chance to finally read some Jung, and kind of wrap my head around that kind of stuff was an interesting aspect of the character.
As you mentioned, what's very intriguing about him is that scientist versus researcher side, and then his empathetic human side. So you mentioned Julia, fantastic in the role of Sarah. What was it like working with her and sharing these scenes together?
She was a very fun, actor to work with. She's very dedicated and smart, and she cares for the work a lot, and you can tell that she cares for the characters that she um, inhabits very deeply. And so she was very inspiring to work with, and I feel that we kind of approached the project as a whole in very similar ways. And so, yeah, she was lovely to work with. It was a privilege.
Hopefully, you get to work with her on another project down the line. You mentioned Anthony Scott Burns, obviously working with him as a director, musician as well. What did you learn from being on set with him and his vision?
Well, this particular project was very special because it really is Anthony's brainchild. I mean, it was an incredibly small crew. I think there was maybe 5 people putting it together the entire time. And so it was just really inspiring watching someone like Anthony take up so many positions with a certain level of grace, and passion, and attention to detail, and consideration towards us as performers, and allowing us time to really explore these characters, and just opening up his kind of world to us. And yeah, I mean, he really showed that you don't need the whole rigmarole of a film set to accomplish a unique story.
And I'm sure those are kind of lessons that you can take as a filmmaker yourself when you work on projects down the line. Now, I was saying he was a musician, Pilot Priest, and Electric Youth did the score for this movie. Were you impressed with how the sound and visuals all came together?
Yeah, I mean, the film itself, the soundscape and kind of what the sound, not only the music and the soundtrack, but also just the noises and there's a quite a bit of time spent in dreams in the movie, and so the sound becomes almost a character in itself that you react to, and it helps kind of guide you through the narrative, and so I mean, incredibly impressed. And while we were making the movie, Anthony was very, uh, he's got really excited, and he loved to share, whatever Electric Youth was working on while we were shooting, and also what he was working on. So we felt like it was very a part of the filming experience as well, not only just a viewing experience.
Do you have a favorite song off of the soundtrack?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't. I mean, I can't wait. I collect records. So I actually can't wait to get a copy of, because I think they're going to release a vinyl copy of the soundtrack. So I can't wait to purchase that and then pick a favorite.
Yeah, I would think Modern Fears was released last week, which is Pilot Priest's reimagining of Electric Youth song. It sounded so good. I can't wait to hear it from start to finish. Now, ultimately, what do you hope viewers take away from this movie?
Um, I I think that the movie offers up a space for many interpretations. And so I hope that I hope there are different interpretations of the film, and hopefully it's a movie that kind of evokes conversation after you watch it. And it's one of those films, I think, that people can leave the theater or finish watching it and have debates over what was happening and the what was going on subtextually and everything. So
I'm always really curious as an actor, when you're working in front of the camera, you obviously don't see a lot of the graphics and the work that goes in after production. So when you saw the film, were there scenes that you thought, that's very chilling? It scared you as an actor?
yeah, there were moments in the dream sequences that, I mean, like, Anthony sort of gave vague descriptions of what they would be like. But there was one particular one. It's this creature with all the legs and that kind of comes out of nowhere. And I remember watching it and actually getting shivers down my spine when it happened. I was like, oh. Also, there's a moment when Julia's character Sarah is I don't even know how you would describe it. She loses her cell phone, and something happens, and the way that Anthony shot it, and there's this weird thing that happens that made me feel very uncomfortable in the best kind of way.
Yeah, those are the best kind of, I think, feelings that you want to take out of like a horror and a thriller film. Speaking of, you are not new to the genre. You were in Hemlock Grove. What do you miss the most about this show and playing Peter?
Well, Peter, I miss Peter a lot. He was a very important person to me, as a character, and I miss him a lot. But I also miss just the collaboration with that cast. We all got along very, very, very well, and we had quite the adventure doing the 3 seasons of that show. And I mean, Bill and I are still best friends to this day. We're making things together now. So I mean, like, I miss acting with Bill and working on scenes with him. But mostly I miss that whole cast. Yeah, working with that cast.
It's so nice to know that you are still friends. Yours and Bill's chemistry on and off screen, I know fans loved it. What are you working on? Scripts, like a
Yeah, I mean that show really kind of solidified our creative bond together, and we spent a lot of nights and days on set, just talking about like the fact that we wanted to do it, that we wanted to make things ourselves, and so we're just starting that process, and just kind of like we wrote and directed our first short together, which was a great success, and hopefully that will come out soon. We're trying to find a home for it right now, but we're very proud of it, and just seeing kind of what moves forward from that, and hopefully it goes into films, and we just continue creating things together.
That's exciting, very exciting news. And fans are still asking for new seasons of that show to this day, which is nice to hear. I see guitars in the back. You are a music maker yourself. You had Boogie Chills out, I think it was like 5 years ago. I like to describe it as an outlaw country folk track to my friends. Have you been working on any new material?
It's funny. I always called the Boogie Chills a gothic doo-wop song, which I sort of, I think, stole from Dead Man's Bones and Man. But I'm not a musician by any means. It's really something I just do. It's a at-home therapy that I do for myself. And that song, Boogie Chills, came from a just sort of a need to do it. And so really music is so it's really just for me, and where however it gets out there, it's its own thing, and yeah, I'm constantly writing and stuff, but it's just for myself, really.
It's always good to have that creative outlet. And hey, if you ever feel like putting out another song, I'm sure you can feel free. Your short film Theo premiered at Holly Shorts last year. Can you tell us a bit about it? Can we expect a wider release this year?
Yeah, I mean, we're figuring out where it should go. I mean, I think probably what it'll come down to is I'll just put it on my YouTube channel or whatever, and get it out there. But yeah, it was that was another example of, so before Bill and I did our short together, I just wanted to direct something on a kind of a professional scale. I funded it myself, and the producer Andrew Carlberg was a very, very helpful element in just getting me able to get a crew together and all the elements I needed. And it was just an exercise in proving that I could do it and that I wanted to continue doing it. And I definitely got the bug from doing it. It's a strange little story about a cantankerous barber who fantasizes about murdering his customers because he's sick of listening to them complain and talk about the world and everything. And he gets a surprise visitor that evokes a conversation that he wasn't ready to have or wasn't expecting. And so it was just, yeah, I'm proud of, I'm really proud of that one too. It's really, I mean, I love the art of storytelling, and so it's just nice to keep doing it.
And a pretty stellar cast for your first project. It had Ari Gross, Maddie Deutsch in it as well. So you mentioned spending time back in Vancouver. When you are in the city, what are some things you like to do?
Well, it was interesting because I lived in Vancouver for 7 years. Before I moved down to Los Angeles, and I had a pretty not a simple life, but like a pretty straightforward. I had my spots, and my group of friends, and we would go to the same spots and go see live music, and wind up at diners in the middle of the night. And my roommate and I, who he lives down in Los Angeles now, we're still best friends. We would love to host parties, but when I was back in Vancouver just recently, I mean, luckily COVID hasn't shut down the city completely, so you could go to restaurants and you could eat indoors and stuff. And so I was, and it obviously very, very safe, and they hose you down with disinfectant before you sit down and everything. But it was the kind of the first time in years that I explored the city and all of its food and the amazing food that Vancouver has to offer. And I was amazed. I was like, wow, I can't believe I didn't do this more when I lived here. Yeah.
Shout out to which restaurants?
Oh gosh, the Mackenzie Room, Pigeon. I think it's called Queso Santo. I think
I
is
think it's Tanto, maybe?
yeah, something like that. But that place is my favorite. It's Italian Asian fusion.
Right, yeah.
So it's so good.
It's a shame about the live music, but did you go to like which kind of venues did you used to hit up a lot?
We I well the what's it called now? I'm getting old, I guess. Uh, what's the Biltmore?
Yeah,
It's yeah, the
Biltmore Cabaret, yeah.
Biltmore Cabaret. I loved Guilt and Co. And that wasn't even that was just you can get all kind of weird acts going on.
The Gastown venues were the best. You got such a mixture of genres.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. I miss Vancouver. Being back there was really nice, and um, yeah, the Biltmore was kind of what's that other place called? I went to the Orpheum a couple of times, but what's that other place called? That's in it's like a black box sort of.
Is it on Granville or?
I think it is.
There's Commodore venue.
It's the Commodore, yeah.
That one's a really good one. More mainstream acts, but like the venue itself looks really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I only went there a couple of times because there were only a couple of bands that I was like really excited to go see there. But or sometimes like if you can support it in any sort of way, the Rio Theater. It's one of those just independent, small little midnight screening of old timey Vancouver theaters. One room, one screen, and I just have so many good memories of going there. For the Friday night midnight screenings, and when it was in trouble there for a second, I like paid it. I was like, please keep the.
Last I heard, they are a sports bar now, so that is a plus for them. They are such a great venue, keeping like, especially when all the theaters are, becoming cineplexes and stuff like.
And they were such a supportive local talent and like local, weird. Like I went to like a Tom Waits burlesque whole themed night there, and yeah, the Rio holds a special place in my heart. So.
Support the Rio. We will definitely leave this in there. A wild card question for you. Can you name all the members of the Fellowship of the Ring?
Oh my, I don't think I can. I mean, that's a big question. Where'd that come from? There's Frodo. There's Samwise Gamgee. Pippin. What's Pippin's buddy's name? I don't know. Gandalf, Gimli, Aragon. What is the elf's name? Legolas? Is it Legolas? What's the other hobbit's name though? There's Samwise Gamgee, Frodo, Pippin. And I don't know his name. What is his name?
Mary.
It's Mary? I would have never have guessed that. How many are there? Am I close?
9. You're one off. There's one more.
Well, then there's Boromir?
Yes. You did pretty good. I'm guessing you have it in the back of your mind somewhere.
I was a big fan of it. When like the movies when I was younger. Yeah, I actually have them queued up. I was wanting to maybe rewatch them.
Now you have to. Those are really good films. And our signature question for you: if you could be any ice cream flavor, which would you be and why?
Black cherry, just because it's my favorite. I think black cherry is my favorite. So. And it's not one that people usually go for. So
I think that's the first black cherry we've heard, but that's a good thing. Thank you so much, Landon, for taking the time to chat. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Make sure to watch Landon in Come True. It is out in theaters and on video on demand March 12th. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.